The rain hammered down on the small town as dusk fell. Outside O'Malley's bar, the neon sign flickered red and blue across the cracked asphalt parking lot, where 3 Harleys stood like sleeping predators, their chrome catching the last rays of sunlight. Inside, the air was thick with decades-old cigarette smoke, spilled beer, and old grease. The jukebox crackled with Hank Williams. Tommy wiped glasses, 23 years of the same routine, the same faces. At exactly 7:15 p.m., Frank Morrison pushed through the heavy wooden door. 90 years old, Marine Corps cap proudly on his head despite trembling hands and a bent back. His eyes were still sharp, his jaw unyielding. He had stormed beaches, pulled brothers from mud while the world exploded around him. Tommy already had the Jameson poured into Frank's favorite glass with the small chip on the rim. Broken things can still serve their purpose, Frank always said. Frank settled onto his stool at the end of the bar. The leather seat had molded to his shape over the years. He gripped the glass with both hands to stop the shaking and stared into the amber as if Marie were there, his wife, taken by cancer 3 years earlier. The scent of her lavender soap still lingered in his memory. The door burst open. Derek Hastings staggered in, 34 but looking 50, cheap vodka and bad decisions seeping from every pore. Unemployed, abandoned, searching for a target for his rage. The room went quiet. Everyone felt it. Trouble had arrived. Derek slammed his palm on the bar. Tequila. The good stuff, not the shit you serve these old farts. Tommy stayed calm. You've had enough, friend. How about coffee and a cab, on the house? Derek's face twisted. The word, enough, hit him like a slap. His bloodshot eyes scanned for a victim, and landed on Frank. Alone. Old. Weak. He lurched toward him. Hey, old man, that's my spot. Get up. Now. Frank didn't even turn. Son, there are plenty of seats here. No need for trouble. I'm just an old man trying to drink in peace and remember my wife. Derek heard only mockery. His hand shot up. A hard, open slap cracked across Frank's face. The Marine cap flew into a puddle of beer. Frank's head snapped sideways, skin splitting, blood trickling. Before the second blow could land, Marcus Morrison saw it all through the window. He had just pulled up, intending to visit the father he hadn't properly seen in weeks. The slap hit him like a knife. Seconds later, 19 more Harleys roared in. Marcus's brief radio call had been enough. 20 Hells Angels poured through the door like a black tide. Leather creaked, boots thundered across the wooden floor. Marcus crossed the room in 4 strides. His hand clamped around Derek's shoulder like a vice, right where nerves cluster and pain explodes. Derek released Frank instantly. He turned, and went white as paper. The skull with wings, the captain patch, the chapter rocker, symbols that needed no explanation. Let him go, Marcus said. Voice cold as ice, quiet, deadly calm. Derek stumbled back, hands half raised, mouth opening and closing soundlessly. Marcus turned to his father. Gentle now. Dad, I'm here. I've got you. Frank gripped Marcus's forearm with surprising strength. I'm all right, boy. Just a little reminder that the world's still full of cowards who hit old men. Marcus helped him back onto the stool. Tommy immediately handed over ice wrapped in a towel. The 20 brothers had formed a silent semicircle around Derek, arms crossed, eyes like lasers. No words. No order needed. Derek pressed himself against the bar, trapped. I didn't know, he's your dad. I had a shitty day, lost my job, my girl left. Marcus raised one hand. Derek fell silent. He leaned in close enough for Derek to smell leather, oil, and the open road. You just put your hands on a 90-year-old man, he said slowly. A Marine Corps veteran who stormed beaches while you were still splashing in your daddy's kiddie pool. A man who bled for pieces of shit like you so you could grow up free to ruin your life one drunk decision at a time. And that man is my father. Each sentence landed like a blow. Derek flinched with every word. Do you understand what you've walked into here? The brothers tightened the circle. Someone was already filming on their phone. Marcus straightened, hand on Frank's shoulder. He felt the faint tremor, the aftershock of adrenaline and age. Here's how this goes, he said, eyes locked on Derek's terrified face. You walk out of this bar right now. You think long and hard about what kind of man attacks a 90-year-old veteran in his neighborhood bar, the one place he comes to remember his wife and drink in peace. And if I, or any of my brothers, ever see you near my father again, even 1 mile from this bar, they'll be finding pieces of you scattered across 3 counties. And no one will ever prove a goddamn thing." The threat hung in the air like smoke. Derek nodded frantically, hands shaking. Marcus stepped aside. The brothers parted like a curtain. Derek stumbled out, nearly falling, ran to his car. Tires screeched as he fled into the night. Inside, the tension slowly eased. Conversations resumed in hushed tones. Marcus sat beside his father. Tommy slid 2 glasses of the good whiskey across the bar, wordless, just a nod full of respect. Marcus picked up the marine cap from the floor, wiped the beer off, and gently placed it back on his father's head, just as Frank had taught him when he was 7 and trying on his dad's gear for the first time. "I should have been here sooner," he said quietly. Frank took the ice from his face, the cheek already purpling, and looked at his son. "You're here now. That's what matters. You came when I needed you. Just like I taught you." He took a shaky breath. "Your mother would be proud of the man you've become. And I'm proud too. I should have said it years ago. I was wrong to judge the club. I understand now why you needed those brothers." Marcus felt something crack inside him, the wall of disappointment and distance. He wrapped an arm around Frank's shoulders, pulled him close. "You taught me everything that matters, Dad. Standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Loyalty. Living by a code. Everything the club respects me for, it all came from you." The brothers nodded. Many had fathers, uncles, older brothers who had shown them what brotherhood really meant. Tommy raised his glass. "To Frank Morrison, Marine, husband, father. A man who still commands respect at 90. The whole bar lifted their glasses, regulars and bikers alike. "Semper Fi," Frank said. "Semper Fi," Marcus repeated. And 20 deep voices thundered it in unison. They stayed for hours. Father and son talked. About wars, coming home, brotherhood, all the things they hadn't said for years. The brothers kept watch, unobtrusive but unmistakable. Outside, the neon kept flickering. The Harleys stood like sentinels. Somewhere in the darkness, Derek Hastings was learning what it costs to cross a line you can't uncross. As the night deepened, Marcus helped his father to his feet. They walked slowly to the door, the brothers falling in behind them like an honor guard. In the parking lot, Marcus helped Frank into the old Buick, buckled him in, checked twice. "I'll follow you home. Sunday I'll come earlier. We'll have breakfast. And I'll finally fix that loose step on your porch." Frank nodded, tears running freely down his weathered face. "I love you, boy. I love you too, Dad." Marcus stood watching the taillights disappear around the corner, his brothers beside him. They mounted up, engines roaring to life. Under the streetlights they rolled out, a formation of steel and loyalty. Sometimes, Marcus thought, the most important battles aren't the ones fought in war. Sometimes protection means showing up at exactly the right moment in a dive bar on a Tuesday night. Family isn't just blood. It's the brothers who ride beside you, and the father who taught you what honor means. The night air was cool on his face. Behind them, O'Malley's neon flickered red and blue. A beacon in the darkness for men who had earned their peace. 1.6s fast.